Once upon a time, in a vibrant city pulsing with life, there was a determined little girl named Lynn. Every morning, as the sun began to rise, she would stand outside the bustling office of a newspaper company, selling papers to passers-by. Her small frame was adorned in a faded dress, and her hands were often smudged with ink. Despite her tough exterior, there was a spark in her eyes that hinted at dreams far bigger than her current circumstances. A passionate journalist working at the same newspaper, often noticed Lynn. As she hurried to her desk each day, the sight of the young girl selling papers tugged at her heartstrings. Lynn was clearly working hard, yet Mai could see the toll it was taking on her. She learned that Lynn had dropped out of school to support her family, struggling to make ends meet. Each interaction with Lynn deepened Mai's concern. The girl had potential that was being squandered. One afternoon, driven by compassion, Mai decided to approach Lynn. With a warm smile, she struck up a conversation, asking about her life and aspirations. Lynn, initially shy, soon opened up about her love for reading and writing. She dreamed of going back to school, but the weight of her family's financial struggles loomed heavily over her. Moved by Lynn's story, Mai made a life-changing decision. She offered to cover Lynn's school fees and provide her with the necessary supplies to attend a good school. Lynn's eyes widened in disbelief. She had never imagined someone would want to help her in such a profound way. With gratitude bubbling in her heart, she accepted Mai's offer, seeing it as a chance to reclaim her future. As Lynn began her journey back to education, Mai became her mentor. She guided Lynn through the challenges of adapting to school life again, encouraging her to excel academically and pursue her passion for writing. They would often sit together, discussing books, ideas, and Lynn's dreams. The bond they formed was not just that of a mentor and mentee. They became like family. However, the transition wasn't without its hurdles. Lynn faced teasing from some classmates who mocked her for having once sold newspapers. The hurtful words stung, but Mai reminded her of her strength and resilience. Encouraging Lynn to write about her experiences, Mai helped her turn pain into powerful narratives. Writing became Lynn's refuge, a place where she could express her emotions and share her story. As the years flew by, Lynn flourished academically. With Mai's unwavering support, she graduated high school with honors. Inspired by her journey, she decided to pursue a degree in literature. Mai was there for every milestone, celebrating Lynn's achievements as if they were her own. After completing her degree, Lynn began working as a writer for local magazines, focusing on social issues that resonated with her heart. Her articles, filled with poignant reflections on poverty and education, quickly gained traction. With each piece, she shared not just her thoughts, but also the stories of countless children who faced similar struggles. Years later, Lynn's talent caught the attention of a major publishing house, leading to her first book deal. On the day of her book launch, she stood nervously in front of a crowd filled with friends, family, and admirers. As she began her speech, tears filled her eyes as she spoke about her journey and the people who had helped her along the way. With gratitude, she recounted the pivotal moment when Mai had stepped into her life, changing her course forever. Mai believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, Lynn said, her voice quivering with emotion. She gave me a chance to dream again, and for that, I will always be grateful. The audience erupted in applause, and Mai, who was sitting in the front row, felt a wave of pride wash over her. Lynn had blossomed into a remarkable woman, and she knew that her own heart had been forever changed by their connection. In the years that followed, Lynn continued to write, using her platform to advocate for children's education and social justice. She often credited Mai in interviews, emphasizing the importance of mentorship and compassion. Their story became a beacon of hope, inspiring others to reach out and help those in need. As they reunited over the years, their bond only deepened. They shared laughter, stories, and dreams of a better world where every child had the opportunity to learn and grow. Lynn never forgot her humble beginnings, and she always remembered the little girl who once sold newspapers. Ultimately, Lynn's success was not just her own. It was a testament to the power of kindness, empathy, and the belief that everyone deserves a chance to shine. Together, they proved that one small act of generosity can ripple through lives, creating waves of change that last a lifetime. Their story of a little girl who sold newspapers and the journalist who believed in her reminded the world that every individual has the power to make a difference. And in doing so, they left a legacy of hope that would inspire future generations to believe in the transformative power of education, kindness, and unwavering support. As Lynn's career blossomed, she began to take on more significant projects, exploring deeper themes in her writing. She focused on the systemic issues that affected children like herself, the barriers to education, the impact of poverty, and the importance of community support. Each article and story she penned resonated with readers, sparking conversations that had long been avoided. One day, Lynn was invited to speak at a national conference on children's rights. It was an opportunity she had dreamed of, and she approached it with both excitement and nervousness. She knew that this platform would allow her to reach even more people, to share her story and advocate for change. On the day of the conference, as Lynn stood behind the podium, she felt a mix of emotions. Looking out at the audience, filled with activists, educators, and policymakers, she took a deep breath and began to share her journey. She spoke about the girl who once sold newspapers, the struggles she faced, and the transformative support she received from mine. As she recounted her story, Lynn emphasized the critical role that mentors play in shaping lives. "It only takes one person to believe in you to change the trajectory of your life," she said, her voice strong and clear. "I was fortunate to have mine in my corner, and I want to be that person for others." Her words struck a chord, and the audience listened intently. After her speech, she received an overwhelming response. Many attendees approached her, sharing their stories and expressing their desire to help children in similar situations. Lynn felt a sense of purpose swell within her. She knew that this was just the beginning of a much larger movement. In the months that followed, Lynn collaborated with various organizations to establish a mentorship program aimed at supporting underprivileged children. The initiative focused on pairing young people with mentors who could provide guidance, encouragement, and resources. Lynn poured her heart into the project, determined to create a system that would uplift those in need. Meanwhile, Mai watched Lynn's efforts with pride, often joining her at events and helping to promote the program. Their bond had only grown stronger over the years, and Mai found herself inspired by Lynn's passion and resilience. Together, they organized workshops, community events, and fundraising campaigns to support the initiative. As the mentorship program gained traction, Lynn often reflected on her journey. She would visit schools, sharing her story with students, and encouraging them to chase their dreams despite the obstacles they faced. In her heart, she knew she was giving them a glimpse of hope, just as Mai had done for her. One day, while visiting a local school, Lynn met a girl named Tian, who reminded her of her younger self. Tian was bright and full of dreams, but her family struggled to make ends meet. She had dreams of becoming a doctor, but financial constraints loomed large. Lynn felt an instant connection with Tian and decided to take her under her wing. As their mentorship blossomed, Lynn shared her experiences with Tian, guiding her through the challenges of balancing schoolwork and family responsibilities. Tian's determination mirrored Lynn's own, and together they navigated the complexities of education and ambition. Lynn's support helped Tian excel in her studies, and she began to believe in the possibility of her dreams. Years passed, and Tian graduated high school with top honors. She received a scholarship to a prestigious university to study medicine. Lynn beamed with pride as she watched Tian walk across the stage, knowing that their shared journey had brought them both to this moment. At the graduation ceremony, Tian took a moment to thank Lynn. "You have been my guiding light," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "Because of you, I believe that anything is possible." Lynn's heart swelled with joy, reminding her of her own journey with Mai. The cycle of mentorship and support was continuing, creating a ripple effect that would touch countless lives. Lynn understood that every act of kindness had the power to inspire others, just as she had been inspired. Meanwhile, Lynn's writing career continued to flourish. She published a collection of essays that explored her experiences and the lessons she had learned along the way. The book received critical acclaim, and she was invited to participate in literary festivals around the country, where she shared her story and advocated for social change. Throughout her journey, Mai remained a steadfast supporter. As they attended events together, their friendship deepened, rooted in shared values and a commitment to making a difference. They often reflected on how far they had come, grateful for the twists and turns that had brought them together. One evening, while enjoying a quiet dinner together, Lynn turned to Mai. "I wouldn't be where I am today without you. Your belief in me changed my life." Mai smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "You've become an incredible woman, Lynn. You're now the one inspiring others." As they talked late into the night, they brainstormed ideas for future projects. Lynn expressed her desire to create a scholarship fund for students like Tien, ensuring that financial barriers wouldn't stand in the way of their dreams. Mai wholeheartedly supported the idea, eager to help Lynn bring it to life. The scholarship fund quickly gained traction, with community members rallying behind the cause. They organized fundraising events, spreading the word about the importance of education and mentorship. Lynn shared her story at each event, emphasizing how support can transform lives. With each success, Lynn felt a sense of fulfillment. She had come full circle, from a little girl selling newspapers to a celebrated author and advocate. She knew that her journey was not just about her own achievements, but about empowering others to rise alongside her. Years later, as Lynn looked back on her life, she realized the profound impact of the choices she had made and the people who had crossed her path. Her heart swelled with gratitude for Mayan and all the individuals who had inspired her along the way. The story of the little newspaper girl had transformed into a powerful narrative of resilience, hope, and the power of community. Lynn was determined to continue her work, reaching out to more children and creating opportunities for them to succeed. One sunny afternoon, as she walked through her neighborhood, Lynn encountered a group of children playing in the park. She paused to watch them, a smile spreading across her face. Inspired, she approached the children and began to share stories of her own childhood, of the challenges she faced and how dreams can come true with hard work and support. As the children listened intently, Lynn knew that she was planting seeds of hope in their hearts, just as Mai had done for her. In that moment, she felt a profound sense of purpose, understanding that her journey would continue as long as there were stories to tell and lives to touch. And so, the cycle of kindness, mentorship, and inspiration carried on, reminding everyone that every small act of support could ignite a spark of change, lighting the way for generations to come. Lynn's story was not just her own. It was a testament to the power of connection and the enduring impact of those who choose to lift others up. As Lynn continued to engage with the children in the park, she noticed a particular girl named Hoa who seemed especially captivated by her stories. Hoa was about the same age Lynn had been when she first started selling newspapers, and Lynn felt an instant connection. After sharing a few more tales of her own journey, Lynn approached Hoa. "What do you want to be when you grow up?" she asked, smiling gently. With wide eyes, Hoa replied, "I want to be a writer like you. I love stories, and I want to tell my own." Lynn's heart warmed. "You can definitely do that. It starts with believing in yourself and practicing every day. Would you like to join my writing workshop?" Excited, Hoa nodded vigorously. "Yes, please." With that, Lynn decided to organize a free writing workshop for the children in her community, encouraging them to express their thoughts and dreams through writing. She knew from her own experience how powerful writing could be, both as a form of expression and a tool for change. In the weeks that followed, the workshop became a beloved part of the community. Children from different backgrounds came together to share stories, explore their creativity, and build confidence in their writing skills. Lynn brought in guest speakers, including authors and poets, to inspire the young writers. One day, Mai joined the workshop as a guest speaker. As she entered the room, the children's faces lit up with excitement. Mai spoke passionately about the importance of storytelling and how words have the power to change the world. After her talk, she encouraged the children to ask questions. Lynn watched with pride as they engaged with Mai, soaking in her wisdom and encouragement. The atmosphere buzzed with energy and inspiration. As the workshop progressed, Lynn noticed remarkable growth in the children. They began to write with more confidence, and their stories reflected their unique perspectives and experiences. Hoa, in particular, blossomed. She had a natural talent for storytelling and often shared her work with the group, earning admiration from her peers. One afternoon, as Lynn was reviewing submissions for a community writing contest, she stumbled upon a story that took her breath away. It was Hoa's piece, a beautifully crafted tale about a young girl who dreams of changing her neighborhood through kindness. The emotions poured from the pages, resonating with the struggles and aspirations of children everywhere. Lynn decided to submit Hoa's story to the contest on her behalf, believing it deserved to be seen. When the day of the contest arrived, the community gathered at a local venue to celebrate young writers. Lynn stood beside Hoa, who was a bundle of nerves, yet excited to present her work. As the judges announced the winners, Lynn felt her heart race. When they called out Hoa's name for first place, the room erupted in applause. Hoa's eyes widened in disbelief, and Lynn rushed to give her a hug, feeling overwhelming joy for her young friend. Standing at the podium to accept her award, Hoa thanked Lynn for believing in her and for inspiring her to write. "I want to tell stories that make people feel and think," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "Thank you, Lynn, for showing me that I can do this." The moment was profound for both Lynn and Hoa. It was a testament to the power of mentorship, highlighting how one person's support could ignite the flame of potential in another. As they celebrated, Lynn reflected on her journey, feeling grateful for the chain of kindness that had led her here. Encouraged by the success of the workshop and the contest, Lynn decided to expand her efforts. She launched a community magazine featuring the children's stories and artwork. The magazine became a platform for young voices, allowing them to share their narratives with the world. The first issue was a tremendous hit, with stories reflecting dreams, challenges, and the everyday lives of children in their community. Parents and teachers praised the initiative, recognizing its importance in fostering creativity and self-expression among the youth. As Lynn's projects continued to grow, she received a call from a local television station interested in featuring her work on a segment about youth empowerment. It was an exciting opportunity to share the impact of the workshops and the community magazine with a broader audience. When the day of filming arrived, Lynn felt a mix of nerves and excitement. She stood in front of the camera, speaking passionately about the importance of storytelling and mentorship. The crew captured her interactions with the children, showcasing their laughter and creativity as they shared their writing journeys. The segment aired to great acclaim, inspiring other communities to implement similar programs. Lynn was inundated with messages from people wanting to support her initiatives, offering resources, volunteers, and even funding for future workshops. Amidst the growing recognition, Lynn remained humble. She knew that her journey had only been possible because of Mai's initial support and the ongoing encouragement from her community. She made it a point to continue acknowledging Mai's influence in every interview and public appearance, emphasizing the importance of lifting others as we rise. As the years rolled on, Lynn continued to mentor young writers, including Hoa, who had blossomed into a talented storyteller in her own right. They often collaborated on projects, combining their voices to advocate for social issues close to their hearts. The bond between Lynn and Mai deepened as well. They spent weekends together, brainstorming new ideas and celebrating milestones. Mai became an essential part of the magazine, contributing articles and editing submissions. Together, they created a nurturing environment for young voices to flourish. One day, as they sat in a cozy cafe reflecting on their journey, Mai said, "You've created something truly beautiful, Lynn. You're changing lives, one story at a time." Tears of gratitude filled Lynn's eyes. "I couldn't have done any of this without you, Mai. You believed in me when I was just a little girl selling newspapers." Their conversation shifted to the future. Lynn expressed her desire to take the magazine national, providing a platform for young writers from all over the country. Mai supported the idea wholeheartedly, excited to see Lynn's vision expand. As they began laying the groundwork for this new venture, Lynn felt a renewed sense of purpose. She was determined to give back, to continue the cycle of mentorship that had changed her life. With Mai by her side, she knew they could make a difference on a larger scale. Months later, they launched a national contest for young writers, encouraging submissions from schools across the country. The initiative was met with enthusiasm, with thousands of entries pouring in. Lynn and Mai worked tirelessly to organize the submissions, carefully selecting stories that represented diverse voices and experiences. As the contest culminated in a grand event, Lynn felt a mixture of excitement and nostalgia. She recalled her own journey and how far she had come. Standing on stage to announce the winners, she felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her. One by one, the winners shared their stories, their voices filled with passion and determination. The audience listened intently, and Lynn couldn't help but feel proud of the next generation of writers. In that moment, she realized that the impact of their work would ripple far beyond what she had ever imagined. Each story shared was a testament to resilience and hope, a reminder of the power of connection and community. As the night concluded, Lynn and Mai embraced, celebrating the fruits of their labor. They knew that this was just the beginning. The magazine would continue to grow, and more children would find their voices through writing. Years passed, and Lynn became a respected figure in the literary community, known not only for her own writing but for her advocacy and mentorship. She traveled to schools and communities, sharing her message of empowerment and the importance of believing in one another. Through it all, the bond between Lynn and Mai remained unbreakable. They often reminisced about the journey they had taken together, grateful for the twists and turns that had led them to this point. They had not only changed each other's lives, but had also inspired countless others to dream bigger and reach higher. And as Lynn looked toward the horizon, she knew that the story of the little girl who sold newspapers had transformed into a beautiful narrative of hope, connection, and the unwavering belief that every child deserves a chance to shine. She vowed to continue this mission, to inspire, uplift, and create a world where every voice could be heard and every dream could be realized. In the end, it was not just about the stories they shared. It was about the lives they touched and the legacy of kindness they cultivated together. Lynn's heart swelled with gratitude for the journey that had begun with a simple act of kindness and had blossomed into a movement of empowerment and inspiration, ensuring that the next generation would continue the cycle of giving and believing in one another. As Lynn's journey progressed, she began to consider the possibility of writing a book. She wanted to share not only her own story, but also the stories of the children she had mentored and the lives they had transformed together. She envisioned a collection of essays and narratives that highlighted the importance of community, mentorship, and resilience. Lynn started to gather stories from her students, including Hoa, who had become a promising young writer herself. Each narrative was filled with dreams, struggles, and triumphs, painting a vivid picture of the power of hope and support. Lynn encouraged her students to express their experiences authentically, reminding them that their voices mattered. As the collection took shape, Lynn felt a surge of excitement and purpose. She reached out to a publisher, sharing her vision for the book and the stories she had gathered. The response was overwhelmingly positive, and soon, they were in the process of bringing the book to life. In the months leading up to the publication, Lynn worked tirelessly, juggling her responsibilities as a mentor and writer. She held workshops where students could share their pieces, providing feedback and guidance. The atmosphere was electric with creativity, and Lynn was inspired by the dedication of her young writers. As the release date approached, the anticipation in the community grew. Lynn organized a launch event that would not only celebrate the book, but also serve as a platform for the young authors. She wanted them to experience the joy of sharing their work with others, just as she had done. The day of the launch arrived, and the local community center was buzzing with energy. Parents, teachers, and friends gathered to support the young writers. Lynn was nervous but excited, knowing that this event would be a milestone for all involved. As she took the stage to introduce the book, Lynn felt a mix of pride and gratitude. "This book is a testament to the incredible journeys of young writers," she began. "Each story is a reflection of resilience, hope, and the importance of believing in one another." One by one, the young authors stepped up to read excerpts from their stories. Lynn watched as Hoa took the microphone, her voice steady and confident. She read a powerful piece about her dreams and the challenges she faced, capturing the audience's attention. The room erupted in applause, and Lynn felt tears of joy welling in her eyes. The event was a resounding success, and the book quickly gained recognition in the local media. Lynn and her students received invitations to schools and community events to discuss their work and inspire others. It was a whirlwind of activity, and Lynn embraced every moment, knowing the impact they were making. Through these engagements, Lynn connected with other educators and advocates who were passionate about mentorship and empowering young voices. They shared ideas and collaborated on initiatives to reach more children, expanding their mission to uplift and inspire. As the years went by, Lynn's book became a symbol of hope in their community. It served as a reminder that every child had a story to tell and that their experiences were valuable. Lynn often received letters from readers who were moved by the stories, expressing how they had inspired them to pursue their own dreams. With each new initiative, Lynn continued to prioritize the importance of mentorship. She launched a scholarship program in conjunction with the book, providing financial assistance to young writers pursuing higher education. The program was met with enthusiasm, and the first recipients shared their stories during the award ceremony, echoing the same themes of resilience and gratitude. Meanwhile, Hoa was thriving in college, studying literature and continuing to write. She often returned to the community to mentor younger students, echoing Lynn's journey. The cycle of kindness and support continued, with each generation inspiring the next. Lynn found immense joy in watching her students grow and flourish, knowing that the seeds of hope she had planted were taking root. She realized that her impact extended beyond just writing. It was about creating a culture of support and empowerment. As the community magazine expanded to include more contributions from young writers across the country, Lynn felt a sense of fulfillment. She had fostered a movement that embraced the power of storytelling and mentorship, making a lasting difference in the lives of many. One day, as Lynn reflected on her journey during a quiet evening, she realized how far she had come. From a little girl selling newspapers to a celebrated author and advocate, she had created a legacy rooted in compassion and the belief that everyone deserves a chance to shine. Lynn decided to organize a national writing retreat for young authors, a weekend filled with workshops, discussions, and networking opportunities. It would be a chance for budding writers to connect with established authors and industry professionals, fostering a sense of community and collaboration. The retreat was a success, attracting participants from all over the country. Lynn was overjoyed to witness the connections formed and the creativity that flowed during the event. Each participant left with newfound inspiration and a deeper understanding of the writing process. As the retreat came to a close, Lynn gathered everyone for a final circle. She encouraged them to share their dreams and aspirations, reminding them that their voices mattered. "Remember," she said, "you are all part of a larger story. Keep writing, keep believing, and lift each other up." In that moment, Lynn felt an overwhelming sense of purpose. She knew that her journey would continue, not just as a writer, but as a mentor and advocate for change. The stories of her students were now intertwined with her own, creating a tapestry of resilience, hope, and transformation. Years later, Lynn would look back on her life and recognize the profound impact of the choices she had made. She understood that every act of kindness, every moment of support, had the power to change lives. As she stood before a new generation of aspiring writers, she felt a surge of hope for the future. The cycle of mentorship and empowerment would carry on, ensuring that the stories of those who felt voiceless would continue to be heard. And in that beautiful, interconnected web of stories, Lynn's legacy would endure, reminding everyone that kindness, resilience, and the courage to share one's truth can create a world where dreams are not just imagined but realized. As Lynn continued her work in mentoring young writers, she decided to expand her efforts further by launching an annual literary festival. The festival would celebrate storytelling in all its forms, bringing together writers, poets, and storytellers from various backgrounds. It would be a place for sharing experiences, learning, and inspiring others through the art of narrative. Lynn envisioned the festival as a vibrant celebration of culture and creativity. She began planning months in advance, reaching out to local businesses for sponsorship, securing venues, and inviting notable authors to participate. She also involved her students in the planning process, allowing them to take ownership of the event and gain invaluable experience in event management. As the festival date approached, the excitement in the community grew. Flyers decorated local shops, and social media buzzed with anticipation. The festival promised workshops, readings, panel discussions, and opportunities for networking, everything aspiring writers could dream of. On the day of the festival, the atmosphere was electric. Lynn arrived early, her heart pounding with anticipation. The venue was beautifully decorated, with colorful banners and tables showcasing local authors' works. She looked around, beaming with pride as young writers mingled with established authors, sharing ideas and stories. The festival kicked off with an opening ceremony, where Lynn welcomed everyone with a heartfelt speech. "Today, we celebrate the power of storytelling," she began, her voice ringing with enthusiasm. "Each of us has a story to tell, and together, we can inspire change and make our voices heard." Throughout the day, workshops filled every corner of the venue. Young writers experimented with poetry, fiction, and memoir writing, guided by experienced mentors. Lynn roamed the festival, stopping to chat with participants, offering encouragement, and soaking in the joy of creativity that surrounded her. One of the highlights was a panel discussion featuring successful authors who shared their journeys and insights into the writing process. The audience hung on every word, taking notes and asking questions. Lynn felt a sense of fulfillment knowing that she had helped create this space for growth and inspiration. As the sun began to set, Lynn organized a special evening event, a storytelling session where attendees could share their stories in a supportive environment. The energy was palpable as people took turns at the microphone, sharing personal tales that ranged from heartwarming to deeply moving. When it was Hoa's turn, Lynn held her breath, proud of how far she had come. Hoa stepped up, her voice steady as she began to recount her journey from a girl selling newspapers to a published author. She spoke of her dreams, challenges, and the importance of mentorship in her life. The audience listened intently, captivated by her authenticity. As she finished, the crowd erupted in applause. Lynn felt a rush of emotion, realizing how the ripple effect of kindness and support had transformed not just Hoa's life, but the lives of many in the community. The festival continued to grow in popularity, attracting media attention and inspiring similar events in neighboring towns. Lynn was invited to speak at various conferences, sharing her vision and encouraging others to cultivate spaces for young voices. Through her efforts, Lynn became a recognized figure in the literary community, not just for her own writing but for her advocacy and mentorship. She often reminded others that it was essential to give back and support those who were just starting their journeys. As the years went by, Lynn's commitment to fostering young talent never wavered. She expanded her programs, introducing initiatives that focused on marginalized voices, ensuring that everyone had the opportunity to share their stories. One day, while reflecting on her journey, Lynn realized how far she had come from the little girl who sold newspapers. She felt a deep sense of gratitude for the mentors who had guided her, the community that had embraced her, and the countless young writers she had inspired. Determined to honor this journey, she decided to write a book about her experiences, sharing the lessons she had learned along the way. It would be a guide for aspiring writers, offering practical advice, personal anecdotes, and encouragement for those seeking their own paths. As she penned her book, Lynn poured her heart into every chapter, recounting the challenges she had faced, the victories she had celebrated, and the relationships she had built. She wanted to remind others that every story was worth telling, no matter how small it may seem. When the book was published, it quickly gained traction, resonating with readers across the country. Lynn received messages from aspiring writers who felt empowered by her words, inspired to pursue their dreams and share their unique narratives. In the years that followed, Lynn's work continued to flourish. She launched a mentorship program that paired established authors with young writers, creating a network of support that spanned generations. The program became a cornerstone of the literary community, fostering lasting relationships and guiding countless aspiring authors. Lynn also collaborated with schools to develop writing curricula that emphasized the importance of storytelling in education. She believed that every child should have the opportunity to express themselves through writing, regardless of their background. As Lynn's influence grew, she became a sought-after speaker at conferences and events. Her message of empowerment and kindness resonated with audiences, inspiring them to take action in their own communities. She often shared stories of her students, highlighting their achievements and the impact of mentorship. In one memorable event, Lynn was invited to speak at a national conference on education and empowerment. As she took the stage, she reflected on her journey and the importance of lifting each other up. Together, we can create a world where every voice is heard and every story is valued, she said passionately. The audience erupted in applause, moved by her words. Lynn felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her. She had built a legacy rooted in kindness, resilience, and the belief that storytelling could change lives. Years later, as she walked through the park where she had first met Hoa, Lynn couldn't help but smile. The children playing in the grass reminded her of the early days of her journey. She knew that the work she had done would continue to resonate, inspiring new generations to embrace their voices and share their stories. In that moment, Lynn felt a deep sense of peace. She had come full circle, and her heart swelled with gratitude for the path she had traveled. She understood that every act of kindness, every moment of mentorship, had the power to transform lives. As she watched the sun set over the horizon, Lynn made a silent promise to herself. She would continue to champion young writers, to uplift and inspire, and to remind everyone that their stories mattered. The journey was far from over. It was merely the beginning of a beautiful legacy that would endure for years to come. And so, with a heart full of hope and determination, Lynn stepped forward, ready to embrace whatever new adventures awaited her on this incredible journey of storytelling and connection. As Lynn stepped into the next chapter of her life, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. With her mentorship programs thriving and her literary festival gaining recognition, she decided it was time to explore international opportunities to share her vision of storytelling and empowerment on a global scale. Lynn began researching international writing retreats and conferences, hoping to connect with other educators and writers from different cultures. She envisioned creating a cross-cultural exchange program where young writers could share their stories and learn from one another. The idea excited her. She could see the potential for collaboration and the profound impact it could have. After several months of planning and networking, Lynn secured a partnership with a renowned literary organization based in Europe. They were thrilled about her vision and agreed to host an international youth writing summit, bringing together young writers from various countries. It would be an opportunity for participants to share their narratives, explore diverse writing styles, and foster understanding among cultures. As the summit approached, Lynn poured her heart into preparing the itinerary. Workshops would cover everything from poetry to journalism, and panel discussions would feature authors from around the globe. She felt a sense of responsibility to create a nurturing environment where everyone could express themselves freely. When the day of the summit finally arrived, Lynn could hardly contain her excitement. The venue was buzzing with energy as participants arrived, eager to engage and learn. Young writers from different backgrounds exchanged greetings, sharing stories about their journeys and aspirations. Lynn felt a deep sense of pride as she watched the connections forming before her eyes. During the opening ceremony, Lynn took to the stage, her heart racing. "Welcome, everyone," she began, her voice steady. "Today, we gather to celebrate our shared passion for storytelling. Each of you brings a unique perspective, and together, we can learn and grow. Let this summit be a place where your voices are heard and your stories are honored." The workshops were a hit, filled with laughter, creativity, and inspiration. Lynn moved from room to room, engaging with the participants and encouraging them to take risks in their writing. She witnessed the magic that happened when young writers felt supported. They blossomed, sharing raw and authentic stories that touched everyone's hearts. One afternoon, during a breakout session, Lynn facilitated a discussion about the power of vulnerability in writing. She encouraged participants to share their personal challenges and how those experiences shaped their narratives. The room grew quiet as stories flowed, each one revealing the strength that emerged from vulnerability. A young writer named Amir shared his journey as a refugee, detailing the hardships he faced and the hope he carried. His words resonated deeply, and the room was filled with a collective understanding of the resilience of the human spirit. As he finished, the participants erupted in applause, and Amir's eyes shone with gratitude. In that moment, Lynn realized the true power of storytelling, how it could bridge gaps, foster empathy, and create connections across cultures. She felt a renewed commitment to continue her work, knowing that every voice mattered and every story had the potential to inspire change. As the summit progressed, Lynn introduced an initiative called Story Circles, where participants gathered in small groups to share their narratives in a supportive environment. The circles encouraged active listening, where each person had the opportunity to speak and be heard without interruption. It fostered a sense of belonging and safety, allowing participants to open up and share deeply. The impact of the story circles was profound. Participants exchanged stories about love, loss, dreams, and identity, creating bonds that transcended language barriers. Lynn marveled at the transformative power of storytelling, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for being a part of this extraordinary experience. As the summit came to a close, Lynn organized a closing ceremony to celebrate the participants and their newfound friendships. The atmosphere was filled with excitement as attendees shared their experiences and what they had learned throughout the event. Lynn felt overwhelmed with joy as she listened to stories of personal growth and connection. In her closing remarks, Lynn emphasized the importance of continuing the conversations started at the summit. "Let this be just the beginning," she urged. "Go home and share your stories. Write, create, and inspire others. Together, we can change the narrative and uplift those whose voices are often silenced." After the summit, Lynn received an outpouring of gratitude from participants. Many expressed how their perspectives had shifted and how they felt empowered to embrace their stories. It was a testament to the impact of the event, and Lynn knew that her vision had come to life. Returning home, she felt invigorated and motivated to expand her efforts. She began planning a series of follow-up workshops and writing challenges for her students, encouraging them to engage with the global community they had connected with during the summit. Lynn also kept in touch with several participants, creating an online platform where they could continue sharing their work, collaborate on projects, and support one another. The sense of community persisted, proving that the bonds formed during the summit extended beyond borders. As her influence continued to grow, Lynn was invited to collaborate with international organizations focused on youth empowerment through storytelling. She traveled to different countries, sharing her methodologies and learning from others about their approaches to mentorship and creative expression. During one such trip, Lynn visited a rural school in a developing country. The students there faced numerous challenges, including limited resources and lack of access to quality education. Yet, their passion for learning and storytelling was undeniable. Lynn was struck by their resilience and eagerness to share their narratives. She organized workshops with the students, using storytelling as a tool for empowerment. They explored their cultural heritage, shared traditional tales, and wrote about their dreams and aspirations. Lynn marveled at how the students embraced the process, their faces lighting up as they discovered their voices. At the end of her visit, Lynn gathered the students for a final reflection session. They shared their stories, filled with hope and determination. Lynn felt a profound sense of connection, realizing that no matter where they came from, their desire to share their truths was universal. Back home, Lynn continued to expand her writing initiatives, ensuring that young voices remained at the forefront of her mission. She organized community writing contests, providing opportunities for students to showcase their talents and receive recognition for their hard work. As her programs flourished, Lynn also became more involved in advocacy work, partnering with organizations dedicated to ensuring access to education for underprivileged children. She believed that every child should have the chance to pursue their dreams, and she was determined to make that a reality. Years passed, and Lynn's impact grew exponentially. Her journey from a young girl selling newspapers to an influential mentor and advocate for young writers had come full circle. She reflected on the countless lives she had touched and the stories she had helped bring to light. One day, as she sat in her cozy office surrounded by books and memories, Lynn received a letter from Hoa, who is now a successful author and speaker. In the letter, Hoa expressed her gratitude for Lynn's unwavering support and mentorship, sharing how their journey together had shaped her life. "I often think about our early days," Hoa wrote. "You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. Because of you, I found my voice, and now I'm using it to inspire others. Thank you for being my guiding light." Tears filled Lynn's eyes as she read Hoa's words. She realized that the impact of their shared journey had rippled outwards, creating a legacy of empowerment that would continue for generations to come. Feeling inspired, Lynn decided to compile a book featuring stories from her students, ments, and those she had met along her journey. It would celebrate their resilience, dreams, and the power of mentorship, serving as a testament to the importance of lifting each other up. The book, titled Voices of Resilience, became a labor of love. Lynn spent countless hours gathering stories, offering feedback, and weaving the narratives into a cohesive collection. Each chapter was a celebration of the unique experiences that shaped the writers' lives. When the book was published, it quickly gained attention and praise, resonating with readers far and wide. Lynn organized a launch event, inviting all the contributors to share their stories in front of a supportive audience. The event was filled with laughter, tears, and a sense of camaraderie as each voice was celebrated. As the years went on, Lynn continued to champion young writers, fostering a community that believed in the power of storytelling. She expanded her initiatives globally, creating a network of mentors and young authors who supported each other, regardless of geographical boundaries. Through every success and challenge, Lynn remained committed to her mission. She understood that her journey was not just about her own story, but about creating a space where every voice could be heard, valued, and celebrated. And as she looked ahead, Lynn knew that the journey would continue. New stories would emerge, new voices would rise, and the legacy of kindness and empowerment would endure, shaping the future of storytelling for generations to come. As Lynn continued her work, she felt a growing desire to bring her initiatives to an even broader audience. She envisioned a global network of young writers, one that would transcend borders and cultures, allowing them to connect, collaborate, and share their stories on a platform that celebrated diversity and creativity. To make this dream a reality, Lynn decided to create an online writing platform called StoryShare. This platform would serve as a digital space for young writers to publish their work, receive feedback, and connect with mentors from around the world. She envisioned it as a hub for inspiration, learning, and community building, where writers could support one another and share their experiences. Lynn dedicated countless hours to developing the platform, working with tech experts to design a user-friendly interface. She wanted it to be accessible to everyone, regardless of their background or resources. The site would feature writing prompts, workshops, and forums for discussion, fostering a sense of belonging among young creatives. Once StoryShare launched, Lynn was thrilled to see the immediate response. Writers from different countries began to sign up, sharing their stories and connecting with one another. The platform quickly became a vibrant community where ideas flowed freely and collaboration was encouraged. One of the first writing challenges on StoryShare was themed cultural narratives. Lynn encouraged participants to write about their heritage, traditions, and the stories that shaped their identities. The entries poured in, showcasing a rich tapestry of experiences from around the globe. Young writers shared tales of resilience, hope, and the beauty of their cultures, celebrating the diversity that existed within their narratives. Among the participants was a young girl named Aisha from a small village in the Middle East. She had always been passionate about storytelling, but struggled to find a platform to share her work. Aisha wrote about her dreams of becoming a journalist, highlighting the challenges she faced in her community, particularly regarding access to education for girls. Lynn was deeply moved by Aisha's bravery and determination. Recognizing the potential impact of Aisha's story, Lynn reached out to her, offering mentorship and guidance. They began collaborating on a project that would not only amplify Aisha's voice, but also raise awareness about the importance of education for girls in her region. Lynn helped Aisha draft articles that highlighted local issues, providing her with the tools to advocate for change. As Aisha's articles gained traction on StoryShare, they caught the attention of international media outlets. Lynn was proud to see Aisha's work gaining recognition, and she encouraged her to continue writing and sharing her perspective. Aisha became a role model for young girls in her community, inspiring them to pursue their dreams, just as Lynn had done for her. Inspired by Aisha's journey, Lynn decided to host a virtual summit on StoryShare, bringing together young writers and advocates from around the world. The summit would focus on the theme Empowering Voices, the role of storytelling in social change. Lynn invited guest speakers who were influential in their fields, encouraging participants to share their narratives and learn from one another. The virtual summit was a resounding success, with thousands of participants tuning in from various countries. Lynn facilitated discussions on the importance of storytelling and advocacy, highlighting how narratives could foster understanding and drive social change. Participants shared their stories of resilience and the impact of their writing on their communities. One panel featured Aisha, who spoke passionately about her experiences and the power of using her voice to address critical issues. Her confidence shone through as she articulated her vision for a world where every girl had access to education. Lynn watched with pride, knowing that Aisha had blossomed into a powerful advocate. As the summit concluded, Lynn felt a renewed sense of purpose. She realized that the work she had done was not just about individual success stories, but about building a movement that empowered young voices across the globe. The connections formed during the summit had sparked collaborations that would extend far beyond that single event. Encouraged by the positive feedback, Lynn decided to establish a mentorship program within StoryShare. The program would pair experienced writers and advocates with young writers, providing ongoing support and guidance. She knew that mentorship was a powerful tool for growth, and she wanted to ensure that every young writer had access to it. The mentorship program launched with great enthusiasm. Young writers were matched with mentors who resonated with their interests and goals. The program facilitated regular check-ins, writing workshops, and collaborative projects. Lynn was thrilled to see the dynamic interactions taking place, as mentors nurtured the talents of their ments and helped them refine their skills. In the midst of all this activity, Lynn also made time to reflect on her own journey. She often found herself reminiscing about the early days when she first decided to help the girls selling newspapers. That simple act of kindness had led to a series of events that had transformed not just her life, but the lives of countless others. One evening, as she sat down to write in her journal, Lynn contemplated the impact of her work. She felt a sense of fulfillment knowing that she had created a space for young writers to share their stories and connect with one another. Each narrative added to the rich tapestry of human experience, reinforcing the idea that everyone had a voice worth hearing. As StoryShare continued to grow, Lynn received invitations to speak at international conferences, sharing her insights on storytelling and mentorship. She was passionate about advocating for young writers and ensuring that their voices were amplified in a world that often overlooked them. During one conference, Lynn met a group of educators from underserved communities who were eager to incorporate storytelling into their teaching practices. Inspired by their commitment, she began collaborating with them to create educational resources that integrated writing and storytelling into various subjects. Together, they developed curricula that encouraged students to express their ideas through narrative, regardless of their academic background. Lynn felt a deep sense of satisfaction knowing that she was contributing to a movement that emphasized the importance of creativity in education. As the years went by, Lynn's work reached new heights. StoryShare became a global phenomenon, with partnerships established in numerous countries. The platform evolved to include translation features, allowing writers to share their work in multiple languages and connect with even wider audiences. In the midst of this success, Lynn remained grounded in her mission. She continued to mentor young writers, ensuring that they received the guidance and support they needed to navigate their journeys. She often emphasized the importance of giving back, reminding her ments that they had the power to inspire others just as she had inspired them. One day, during a writing workshop, Lynn invited her former ments to share their experiences since they had graduated from the program. The room buzzed with excitement as they took turns recounting their journeys, the challenges they had overcome, and the stories they had published. Lynn's heart swelled with pride as she listened to their words, knowing that their successes were a reflection of the collective efforts of the community they had built together. Among the speakers was Hoa, who had gone on to become a celebrated author. She shared her latest project, a book that centered on the themes of resilience and hope, inspired by the stories of young writers she had met through StoryShare. Lynn couldn't help but feel a sense of joy, recognizing how far Hoa had come and how their paths had intertwined over the years. As the workshop concluded, Lynn took a moment to reflect. She realized that her journey was a continuous cycle of growth, learning, and connection. Each new generation of writers added to the legacy she had built, ensuring that the impact of storytelling would endure for years to come. As she prepared for her next adventure, an international writing retreat designed to foster collaboration and creativity among young writers, Lynn felt a sense of excitement bubbling within her. She knew that the road ahead would be filled with new stories waiting to be told, new connections to be made, and new challenges to embrace. And so, with an open heart and an unwavering commitment to her mission, Lynn stepped into the future, ready to embrace whatever came next on this incredible journey of storytelling and empowerment. Every new chapter would bring its own lessons, and she was determined to make each one count, nurturing the voices of tomorrow and celebrating the power of every story shared. As Lynn prepared for the International Writing Retreat, she focused on creating an enriching experience that would empower participants from diverse backgrounds. The retreat would take place in a picturesque countryside setting, surrounded by nature, allowing attendees to draw inspiration from their surroundings. She envisioned workshops that combined writing exercises with nature walks, encouraging writers to connect with their environment and find their unique voices. In the months leading up to the retreat, Lynn reached out to accomplished writers, educators, and industry professionals to serve as guest facilitators. She aimed to assemble a diverse group of mentors who could share their expertise, foster creativity, and inspire the young writers attending. The response was overwhelmingly positive. Many were eager to contribute to such a meaningful initiative. As the day of the retreat approached, Lynn felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. She wanted everything to be perfect, but she also understood that the true magic of the retreat would come from the connections formed between participants. Each writer brought their own story, and Lynn was eager to witness the magic that unfolded when these stories intertwined. When the retreat finally began, participants arrived from various countries, each filled with anticipation. Lynn welcomed everyone with open arms, creating a warm atmosphere where everyone felt valued and included. She reminded them that this was a safe space for exploration, and she encouraged them to share their thoughts and ideas freely. The first day was dedicated to introductions and ice-breaking activities, allowing participants to get to know one another. Lynn facilitated a circle where everyone could share a brief story about their journey as a writer. The diversity of experiences was astounding. Some spoke of overcoming personal challenges, while others shared tales of cultural heritage and passion for storytelling. As they shared their stories, Lynn could see the bonds forming among the writers. They laughed, cried, and inspired one another, each narrative adding to the rich tapestry of their collective experience. Lynn felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that she had created an environment where vulnerability was celebrated. The following days were packed with workshops that focused on various aspects of writing, character development, narrative structure, and the art of storytelling. Participants engaged in hands-on exercises, receiving constructive feedback from their peers and mentors. Lynn encouraged collaboration, urging writers to read each other's work and offer insights that would elevate their writing. One workshop, led by a renowned author named Samuel, focused on the theme of finding your voice. He challenged participants to write freely, without self-editing, allowing their authentic voices to emerge. As they wrote, Lynn moved around the room, offering support and encouragement. She could sense the energy in the air as creativity flowed and ideas blossomed. Later in the retreat, Lynn organized a day for outdoor writing. Participants ventured into the surrounding woods, each tasked with finding a spot that resonated with them. There, they would write about their observations, feelings, and the stories that emerged from their surroundings. It was a chance to connect with nature and tap into their creativity without distractions. As Lynn walked through the forest, she saw groups of writers deep in thought, scribbling notes, or sharing insights. One group was particularly animated, discussing the symbolism of a nearby river and how it could represent the flow of life in their narratives. Lynn felt a sense of pride as she witnessed the participants engaging with one another and exploring new dimensions of their writing. In the evenings, Lynn organized fireside storytelling sessions, where participants could share excerpts from their work or personal anecdotes. The warmth of the fire and the night sky created an intimate atmosphere, inviting vulnerability and connection. Each story shared felt like a thread woven into the fabric of their collective experience. During one of these evenings, Aisha, who had now become a confident writer, decided to share an excerpt from her latest piece, a story about a girl in her community who fought for her right to education. The power of her words captivated the audience, and Lynn couldn't help but feel a surge of pride for how far Aisha had come. As the retreat progressed, Lynn introduced a collaborative project where participants could work together to create a collective story. They divided into small groups, each brainstorming ideas and crafting different sections of the narrative. This exercise encouraged teamwork and creativity, demonstrating how diverse perspectives could enrich a single story. On the final day of the retreat, Lynn organized a showcase where participants could present their collaborative story to the entire group. The atmosphere was filled with excitement and anticipation as they prepared to share their work. Lynn could see the transformation in each writer. What began as individual stories had blossomed into a beautiful tapestry of voices. When it was time for the showcase, the participants took turns reading their sections. The collective story flowed seamlessly, and the audience was captivated by the creativity and depth of the narrative. Lynn felt a sense of pride, knowing that she had played a role in nurturing these young writers and witnessing their growth. As the retreat came to an end, Lynn organized a closing ceremony to celebrate the participants and their accomplishments. She presented each writer with a certificate of completion, recognizing their dedication and commitment to their craft. The atmosphere was filled with joy and gratitude as participants reflected on the bonds they had formed and the stories they had shared. In her closing remarks, Lynn expressed her heartfelt appreciation for each writer's contributions. "You are all part of something much larger than yourselves," she said. "Your voices matter, and your stories have the power to inspire change. Carry this experience with you and continue to share your narratives with the world." As participants exchanged contact information and made plans to stay connected, Lynn felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her. She knew that the retreat had ignited a spark in each of them, a passion for storytelling that would continue to grow. In the weeks that followed, the impact of the retreat resonated throughout the StoryShare community. Participants began sharing their experiences on social media, showcasing their newfound confidence and the stories they had written during the event. Lynn felt a surge of pride as she saw the community expanding, with writers supporting one another and celebrating their successes. Emboldened by the retreat's success, Lynn decided to create an annual writing retreat, making it a tradition for young writers to gather, learn, and inspire one another. Each year would bring new themes, guest speakers, and opportunities for collaboration, ensuring that the legacy of empowerment continued to thrive. As she planned for the next retreat, Lynn reflected on her journey. From that first encounter with the girls selling newspapers to building a global community of young writers, she realized how far she had come. Every step had led her to this moment, and she felt a profound sense of gratitude for the connections she had forged along the way. One day, while reviewing submissions for the next retreat, Lynn received an email from Aisha. She expressed her heartfelt gratitude for the mentorship and support she had received from Lynn and the community. Aisha shared that she had been invited to speak at a local school about the importance of education for girls, and she was excited to use her voice to make a difference. Lynn couldn't help but smile as she read Aisha's words. It was moments like these that fueled her passion, seeing young writers embrace their voices and take action. She felt a renewed commitment to nurturing talent, ensuring that every young writer knew their story mattered. As the next writing retreat approached, Lynn was filled with excitement and anticipation. She knew that new stories would emerge, new connections would form, and the power of storytelling would continue to inspire and transform lives. With each retreat, she was reminded of the profound impact that mentorship and community could have on individuals. The journey was ongoing, and Lynn was ready to embrace every new chapter, celebrating the voices of tomorrow and championing the storytellers of the future. As she looked out at the horizon, she knew that the possibilities were endless, and the world was waiting to hear the stories that had yet to be told. The adventure of storytelling was just beginning, and she was thrilled to be a part of it. As the sun set on the final day of the retreat, Lynn gathered everyone for one last circle. The warmth of camaraderie filled the air as participants shared their hopes for the future. Lynn listened intently, her heart swelling with pride as they spoke of their aspirations to write stories that would inspire change, uplift voices, and foster understanding across cultures. With a soft smile, Lynn took a moment to reflect on her own journey. This isn't just about writing. It's about creating a legacy of connection and empowerment, she said. Each of you has a unique voice, and together, we can build a tapestry of stories that celebrate our differences and our shared humanity. As she looked around the circle, Lynn felt a sense of profound gratitude. These young writers were not just her mates. They were her collaborators in a greater mission. With their passion and creativity, they would carry the torch of storytelling into the world, illuminating paths for others to follow. As the retreat concluded, participants exchanged hugs and promises to stay in touch, their hearts full of inspiration. Lynn felt a bittersweet tug as she watched them depart, knowing that this was just the beginning of their journeys. She was excited to see how each of them would grow and the stories they would tell. In the months that followed, the impact of the retreat rippled through the community. Writers began publishing their work, launching blogs, and advocating for causes they were passionate about. Aisha's voice became a beacon for many, as she continued to speak out for girls' education, inspiring others to join the movement. Lynn found herself in a constant state of wonder, witnessing the transformative power of storytelling. The connections forged during the retreat blossomed into collaborations, friendships, and a supportive network that transcended borders. The world was becoming a smaller, more interconnected place through the sharing of narratives. Reflecting on her journey, Lynn knew that her role as a mentor and advocate would only grow. She was committed to nurturing the next generation of writers, creating more opportunities for them to share their stories. Each retreat, each workshop, and each interaction reinforced her belief that storytelling was a force for good. As she prepared for the next year's retreat, Lynn felt a renewed sense of purpose. The adventure of storytelling was ongoing, and she was ready to embrace every new chapter that lay ahead. With her heart full of hope and determination, she looked forward to the stories yet to be told, knowing that each voice mattered and every story had the power to change the world. In that moment, surrounded by the memories of laughter, tears, and shared dreams, Lynn knew she was exactly where she was meant to be, an advocate for stories, a nurturer of voices, and a champion of the storytellers of tomorrow. The journey was far from over. It was just beginning, and she couldn't wait to see where it would lead.